So let's look at this, right? So the new open beta 2 has been announced. Obviously, this is very exciting. Happy to see this. But we got the playable modes here. Let's see. What do we got here? It's on PS4, PS5. Obviously, cross-plays between PS4, PS5. Obviously, versus mode, tutorial mode, training mode, online match, player match. They have player match now, which is good. That's really good. So you can finally play in lobbies with your homies. And they included Anji and I-No as playable characters this time around, which is good. It's very, very, very good. The balance of the characters, battle balance has been adjusted after the open beta test in February. Clearly, you know, we just had the beta test in Japan not that long ago. Pretty much over the weekend. So, let's see here. They added a rematch function now. This is good. In the ranked tower, you can rematch up to 3 times or until either player's recommended floor changes. That's good. In the open park, you can rematch as many times as both players agree. Cool. Other features of the lobby have been improved. Yes. Good. They made the lobby larger. They got rid of the advertisements here. It's good. It's good to see. This is good. Battle balance. Okay, so this right here. This is the thing that's got people in arms. When the same move is used more than a set number of times in a combo, the opponent now falls more quickly. So they added SMP. If you don't know what SMP is same move proration. They added SMPs. SMP has been a thing in Arc 6 games for a long time, for loops and combos and stuff like that. Specifically in like Personas, kind of where they really pushed that agenda. So, what was it? Naoto had SMP loops, where she would do the hop kick, build a lot of meter, etc, etc. So that's what they added now. Aerial actions in general have been adjusted. Obviously for every character is different. Using aerial attacks, double jumps, and air dashes now causes recovery on landing. Okay. Jumps and air dashes now cover less distance. Characters now enter an airborne state after a jump begins. Right? The command normal 6P has been adjusted to work as an anti-air attack. This always was anti-air, they just wasn't as good previously. It varies for each character how well it works, or how effective and what you get off of it. Obviously that's why it varies. The hitbox has been expanded upwards and the hurt box has been reduced. Thank goodness. The attack is now active for longer. Thank goodness. Recovery time has been increased after blocking an attack while in midair. That's interesting. The overall balance has been adjusted from general game mechanics to individual character abilities. Now, obviously they updated the screens, and we're going to come back and talk about the battle adjustments. So, here we go. Online beta test 2 processes network connections for online matches with rollback on netcode. Players can enjoy a gameplay experience with local play even while online. So they just pushed this again. So they're just talking about the rollback again. So they didn't really change their landing page for this outside of the different thing, because this was on the last beta test too. So this is the same. None of this is too much different. Okay. Obviously, report your feedback when this stuff comes out. But let's talk about this more than anything else, and that's these changes right here. So, oh, did they say the player matches wouldn't be available? Am I tripping? Oh, okay, I'm bugging. That sucks. That's fine. That's fine. At least you can play. In the lobby and just keep rematching, so that's fine. Okay, so yes, they don't want you empty jumping at people and blocking the air and landing and punishing the person attempting to anti-air, which is fine to me. Yeah, so let's talk about that, right? So Angry Black did put up a video showing how that stuff works, but here's the real deal, right? Here's the real deal. Like, I want to say this first, and then I'll say what the rest of it afterwards. These changes are based on people's complaints about jumping in the game and how they were too good, so forth and so forth, right? So this is their response to that. Now, that does not mean that this is how the game will end up endgame. However, if it is, so be it. Get used to it. That's going to be the game. Now, moving forward, let's talk about why this is the way it is, right? Obviously from the complaints, right? But let's move into more. So, notice what's being said here. Using aerial attacks, double jumps, and air dashes now causes recovery on landing. Jumps and air dashes now cover less distance. So let's talk about the extra landing recovery. This is in every single fighting game known to man, where if you whiff a button in the air, you have what's called trip guard, which means they can hit you when you land because you have some landing recovery after you whiff an aerial attack, right? Now, them adding it to double jumps and air dashes, this most likely means that if you whiff something, right, then you will not have the ability to block immediately normally, right? You can't block immediately normally. I'm gonna say it one more time. You can't block immediately normally. What does this mean for us? That means we have to faultless defense cancel our landing recovery. That's most likely what this means. Is this bad? Not necessarily. But it makes it so that you cannot commit, like you can't feint an aerial attack, because generally speaking, let's say they added 2 to 3 frames worth of landing recovery, right? Safe jumps are still going to be prominent because uppercuts and reversals in Guilty Gear are more often than not, like a regular DP is like 5 frame startup. So safe jumps aren't really going anywhere. You know, that's not going to be a problem. That's still going to be a thing in the game. It just, if you want to cancel the landing recovery, you probably have to FD. That's probably what it's going to end up being. So you have to FD cancel your landing recovery, which will essentially, I guess, make you kind of sort of lose your turn. But who knows how long you have to tap it for, you know? It could be just jump, land, FD stop, or FD your landing recovery to cancel it so you can at least block, right? Because they're making it so you can't block from a normal jump. They didn't say anything about using faultless defense to cancel it at all. It's just if you jump and air dash normally, this is what's going to happen to you. Now, I don't see them adding, I don't see them not allowing you to do that from a general movement point of view. Like if you did a special move and it didn't work, okay, understandable. You know, if you did a different special move that left you airborne and you had the landing recovery, sure, understandable. You know, but I don't see that not being a thing for normal things, right? Or like double jump and air dashes. I don't think that's a big thing. But that's if you double jump and air dash. This is not including if you hit a button. Now, if you hit a button, it's just, that's normal. Guilty Gear has had trip guard in it for a long time, but only on certain moves. It's not every move has trip guard. You know, like that's what lets the safe jumps work super well, etc., etc. So this honestly isn't really doing much. This isn't hurting the game at all, if you ask me. And I think if anyone is going ballistic over it, you should probably readjust and think about that before you go too nuts. They're just adding things to make it so that when you do something, there's an intention. Like you're doing it for a reason. It's intentional. It's not just we're doing this and we're gonna do it just because this is the normal thing to do. It's okay to still kind of maybe air dash away with a button, but like, why would you whiff the button anyway if you know you're gonna get, if there's trip guard? You know, like, don't whiff. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Just air dash away and just chill. There's no reason to press the button. Unless you see them clearly chasing after you and you're trying to retaliate, sure. But otherwise, no. Not worth it. So, now this character's now enter an airborne state later after a jump begins. That means that what they're trying to do is when people chicken block and they leave the ground for maybe like, I don't know. Let's say they're airborne, but they're not airborne. Like they're visually airborne, but you know, they're not actually airborne. They're just trying to make it so if you chicken guard somebody before if they try to like fuzzy jump or something like that, you'll catch them and they're grounded instead of them being airborne. So this kind of sort of might hurt fuzzy jumping. I don't know, we'll have to see. But I think it's primarily because of how throws are right now that this could be like, it could be seen as a nerf, but it's also kind of a way to check the chicken block. So even if they're visually airborne or whatever, but they're not, like their pre-jump frames leave them grounded, I think it's not necessarily that bad. Like they're just trying to stop chicken guard at that point. So fuzzy jumping could be a little bit more difficult. Let's see here. So this isn't cause for concern, to be honest with you. This is still a testing phase. They might change it, but again, my thing is even if it stays this way, like learn to play around these things without, you know, fail. It won't be that hard. You just adjust. 6P working as anti-air means like that's the Guilty Gear staple. That should be anti-air period. I don't know why they keep trying to nerf 6Ps every single version of Guilty Gear. This has definitely been pissing me off for a while now because I play a low HP character and I need my anti-airs, you know? I can't rely on uppercut every single time I want to do damage. on someone jumping. And air throw is a lot different, so it's not as easy to air throw somebody to stop them as an anti-air. You know, you can air to air them, but that's not easy. You know, but 6P should be a reliable choice for a lot of characters. This has always been the go-to in Guilty Gear, and I'm kind of glad they're finally getting this to where it needs to be. I kind of want to come back here to the jumps and air dashes covering less distance. Again, this is a gigantic thing due to people complaining about the jumps being too good. So, like, they're making it more in line, because what happened a lot of the time in the current beta, or the last beta, is that people would jump on you and your 6P would come out, and they would overshoot, right? So you're undershooting trying to anti-air them, but they're overshooting your 6P, so they're hitting you on the back end. So you get bopped. So it's easy for you to just lose in that regard, because what are you supposed to do, you know? So they're like, everyone's jumps is just overshooting. And the air dash is covering less distance. Look, let's just be honest here. They're legitimately trying to get people to play a more grounded Guilty Gear. They want the air to matter, but they want the air to have, like, simply put, they're trying to balance out the risk reward for aerial approach. Air approach in Guilty Gear has always been pretty freaking strong, to be honest. I feel like the only thing I want from them to do is to keep run momentum attached to run and jump. That's it. Like, to kind of offset this is to go back to that. But if they don't, obviously I'm going to get used to it. It's not like I can't adjust. It's not like we can't adjust either. You just have to want to do it. Like, complaining about what we don't have is not going to solve the issue, you know? You can complain if you want. I'm not going to say don't, but, like, understand that a lot of these changes are coming because people have been complaining about jumps, people have been complaining about anti-airs, and they're fixing these things bit by bit. So, I feel like they're in a good spot with this, and I'm really happy to see they're actually being smart about it. Let's see here. Yeah, the 6P adjustment or forward punch adjustment, that's phenomenal. That should have been there. Recovery time being increased after blocking an aerial attack while in midair. This one's a little weird one. This one's kind of weird. I guess it's because certain punishes are probably going to require you to IBFD or something. If you wanted to free up your guard, you would probably have to go for IBFD or IB to try to change certain situations for yourself. Otherwise, it's just going to throw you back, right? So, it makes... Now, I did see that they made it where, like, blocking an air uppercut just throws the opponent backwards. In a way, returning to neutral is not necessarily that bad. But if you block an uppercut, you deserve to punish it. But I guess that's kind of like... I don't know, it feels like one of those things where it's like, I'm right, you're wrong, but now let's go back to square one. You know? While not doing actual damage. Because both characters are going to end up going back to neutral, right? So if the recovery time has been increased after blocking an attack while in midair is like that, well... It's hard to say. It's hard to say about this one. But, like... I'm interested to see where it's going to go. You know? So... I'm happy to see all this stuff come into play. The only thing that has me concerned or kind of raises an eyebrow is the recovery time being increased after blocking an attack while in midair. That's the only thing that's got me like, I wonder what this is about. So, as you can see, every time I read these things, I try to think about what they want to do. You know, and how can this affect the game as a whole. You know? So, at the end of the day, I'm okay, once again, with this. Nothing seems too out of the ordinary outside of the recovery on air block, but... it's fine, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, what's most important is that Anji and I-No are playable. That's huge. Yeah, if you IB the air uppercut, you stay close and you can punish. For sure. It's just, since they increased the pushback, I'm wondering if, like, they're allowing you, since, what was it? We discerned that, like, you do get one extra frame shaved off of your block, right? So to be able to do something, so it leads me to believe that there has to be something there in that regard. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened on IB either, but you know, right now the way I'm seeing it is it can't be that bad. You know, it cannot be that bad. I'm just hoping that everything's rounded out. Like, I feel like now they're getting close to the final build, and this is clearly going to be like you know, one of the last builds that we're gonna be able to test before full release, and then balance changes, etc., etc. So being able to get this in our hands, you know, not too long from now is phenomenal. You know, we're gonna get this, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And then from that point on, like, the game comes out, what? Not that long from then. Yeah. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So this is gonna be the closest final build. They'll probably do some small readjustments to release, and that's it. That's most likely gonna be it. There'll probably be a day one patch like always, and they might fix some things that they did that they might have missed on full release, and then that's gonna be the game for like the next, at least until Evo's over with. So all in all, I'm okay with most of everything. I don't really have much to say that's negative. You guys know me, I'm always being positive about Guilty Gear Strive. I'm not like everyone else being super negative. I try to find the good in all this shit because there's gotta be something, right? There has to be something. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here. That's most of what I have to say about this so far. But we can still talk more Strive despite this, right? So I'm gonna cut it here because we'll upload this to the YouTubes. So we'll cut it here. I was singing my outro as I was, yeah, you know the outro.